What's up, YouTube? Don't forget to save, aka Sam, back at you with part 2 of DZ Breaks VR. Before we get into it, though, I want to say that I will be doing a live tomorrow night, 7:30 Central Time. Also, thanks to everybody who showed up to Wednesday's stream. That was really cool. So, with all that said, guys, gonna get right into my shout outs because that's part of the VR. So, did 5 shout outs last video. Go back and watch the last video if you haven't. And I'm going to do 4 for this one. So, we're going to start at the top with Lisa Z, aka Lisa Zankavich. And she's a Detroit Tigers fan, and she's always got awesome mail days, and she's a huge supporter. So if you guys aren't subbed to Lisa Z, what are you doing with your life? All right, so next up is another great channel, and I think everybody will agree. Shaw Racing Collects, Jeff and the boys over there, going to give them a shout out. If the boys ever want to promote their channels in live, Jeff can do that, or on their behalf, or they can, and sub them up because everybody over there should get more subs. So anyway, what Shaw Racing Collects is, and he collects all kinds of stuff. The guy is just, I don't know if there's anything he doesn't collect. So anyway, him and the boys anyway. So, and they're Blue Jays fans, but we love them anyway. So links to both Lisa Z and Shaw Racing Collects in the description below. If you guys aren't subbed to them, check them out and go watch their video, like, and leave a comment so your sub will stick. And my final shout out, my next to final shout out rather, is Canadian Cardbreakers, and I think the channel name explains it quite well. I've seen that he's recently been on a wander hunt over there, so go check out Canadian Cardbreakers. Link in the description. And finally, last but certainly not least, DZ Breaks for providing us an awesome VR and a fun topic to talk about is our hobby. So if you're not subbed to DZ Breaks, man, I'm going to have to pull your collector's card if you're not subbed to DZ Breaks. Anyway, just kidding, guys. So with all that said, let's get right into it. Now, my last video was my top 10 favorite baseball cards. This week's is comic books. So I've got a bonus comic book to start us off here to give you a flavor. I collect a little bit of everything. I like horror comics. I like some Marvel characters. I like some DC characters. I collect Batman and Superman. So you guys will see what I mean as I go through these comic books. And I got one in here for DZ I think you'd like too. Anyway, so there's my Aliens Walmart variant number 1. I think that speaks for itself. Hopefully it's showing up on camera here. So anyway, I hope that speaks for itself there. That's a sweet, sweet cover. So that's my runner-up. That's an honorable mention comic. So this is just give you an idea what you guys are in for here. All right. So my next is the Venom, and this one is the one that made me think of DZ. It's a Venom comic, and it's the Walmart variant, and I love that cover. I think that's a beautiful cover there. Let's try to focus in there. So yeah, it's a Venom number 25. And I think you guys will agree. If you don't agree that that's an awesome cover, let me know in the comments. But I like that artwork. I'm cool with that. Now we're going to switch over to some DC and some Superman. And shout out to Mike the Card Dude. I recently got some of this series from Mike. This is Superman number 78. And it's got Cyborg Superman there. And a.k.a. Hal Green. And Doomsday, and it's one of those covers. I had this comic series as a kid, and this is one of the series that got me into collecting Superman and DC comics. So it's to me that's it's got a poster in it too. So that's it's kind of like a childhood cover, and this next couple are kind of like that as well. And this is Superman number 76. The funeral they had after the death of Superman and whatnot. We'll get into that here in a second, but this is Funeral for a Friend 4. Let me try to get in on these a little better. It's Funeral for a Friend 4, so shout out to Mike. I should have some more in that series coming, but I do have that one. I have some other ones out of the run too, but in time, in interest of time and brevity, I'm just going to show you a few of what I got here. There we go. Hopefully that works better. Hopefully those pick up my covers a little bit better, but yeah. So I got Funeral for a Friend. That's we're 4 in, so we got 6 more, and the next one up should be a self-evident. This is a newsstand copy I picked up. It's a reader's copy. It's not in the best of shape, but I do have the Death of Superman. Now, that's what really, when I was a kid, I remember there's a story that goes behind this, and again, maybe I'll mention it on the stream Friday about how my story with the Death of Superman. It's one of the comics that got stolen from me, and it's one that I got back later on down the road. I actually got this at a local shop that used to sell them here. And it said it's not in the greatest shape. It's got some spine text. There's a divot in the cover. But it's a copy of Death of Superman, and I'm happy to own it. And that's an iconic cover to me. And I threw this other one in here because, again, it's a Deedsy thing. A couple of these covers I have that Deedsy reminded me of when he started talking about Venom and Spider-Man. And so I got the 30th anniversary foil cover of Venom and Spider-Man. And again, some of those 90s comics I feel were underrated for their covers, and this is one of my favorite covers. And Deedsy was talking about it on his channel. I'm like, hey, I've got a copy of that. And so there you go. I have some the anniversary ones of Spider-Man too. I collect Spider-Man a bit too. Not a whole lot, but I do like Spider-Man. So next up is another comic book that I like, and that is Ghost Rider. And I had 2 Ghost Rider comics, and this is my favorite of the 2, so that's why I chose this one. But it's the first appearance of Blackout, so that's really cool. And yeah, I really like the cover. Again, another 90s cover, and like a lot of those 90 covers I think are really nice. And these are things that catch my eye when I go through my comics. So next up is a more modern comic, but I still like it just as much, and that is the Superman number 22. That's a variant cover. I don't know what kind of variant cover, but it says variant cover right there on it. So I think it's a really awesome picture of Superman, and it's really well done, and it's a nice clean cover, and I like that artwork. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about it. So here we go. We're getting down to the brass tacks now, guys. So here's another comic book, and I have the other 2. Actually, I have the other 2 signed by the artist who drew the covers. But I have Batman vs. Predator 1. That's another series I read as a kid. I have the original 3. I have all 3 of 3. 2 of them are signed by the artist. I'll have to show those in another one because I didn't want to take up a whole, 3 comics for one slot. But I do have the whole series. And again, to me, that's an iconic cover. I remember this sitting on the, those comic racks they used to have that spun around. I seen that sitting on that back in, when was it, 92, 93. Dark Horse Comics, DC. So anyway, next up is some more horror. And you guys might be wondering why I got my Friday the 13th VHS there. Well, because I have the Evil Dead 2 Dark Ones Rising, and it's the Friday the 13th variant. And I think it's obvious why I like this one. You guys can do the side-by-side right there. It's just like the cover of the VHS tape. I think it's a really cool horror comic and an iconic movie cover at the same time. So, I mean, that was an eBay score, actually. And I like the cover. I had the VHS. I'm like, I got to have this comic, So there we go. I got the comic. So that's one of my favorite ones. These next ones were tough to pick out of, but I'm going to stick with my DC and my Superman. And this is a comic series I would like to finish getting the run of. But I have a couple of covers, and these are variant covers as well. This is the Deceased Superman zombie cover. It's got the top there. You can see the top. I don't know if it shows up on camera, but up at the top, towards the top of his head, it's like zombie-fied. Deceased was basically DC's Marvel zombies thing. It was, everybody turns into zombies. It's like this virus that gets on the internet, haha, and it like causes whoever's on the internet to turn into a zombie, basically. So that's kind of the story of it. But iconic Superman cover. I remember when I got this, I was super stoked to have it. So that's in my second spot. But in my first spot is also from the same DC run. And this is probably my favorite cover out of any comic book that I own. And that is the Deceased Nightmare on Elm Street cover. And if you ever seen the VHS cover, I don't have one in front of me, but if you ever had the VHS version of Nightmare on Elm Street, that would be, you know, if Ivy doesn't, it's the Poison Ivy Batman. If Ivy doesn't wake up screaming, she won't wake up at all. It's a Nightmare on Elm Street variant. It is absolutely my favorite cover of Batman, or, you know, any comics, like I said, that I have. So I hope that's great for DZ. I hope that works for you guys. I'm not the only one that can do this. You guys can do a VR for DZ too. Just go check him out. You'll find it in his videos. It's not that far back. So anyway, with all that said, guys, until tomorrow night, love your hobby, and I love you back. Peace.